Welcome to video number 210 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things laughing and
not working.
not working.
BNI and networking.
There we go. I have Mark Simmons.
You know, Mercury is still in retrograde.
It really is.
That's the reason your computer crapped out.
Yeah. My computer has mysterious lines on it. Yay, life. So Hazel Walker, it's a new year.
Yep.
New beginnings, new ideas, new great ideas, new goals. Hey, speaking of goals, so in BNI chapters, many chapters are starting to do their goals. And I heard this amazing goal the other day. Are you sitting down?
An amazing goal? I always love to hear.
This is a really hard-hitting, amazing goal that a chapter has written down as their goal.
So it's a BHAG goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a chapter that, is growing. They're a little small, but their goal is by the end of 2023, this is their goal, to grow to 35 members, period.
That's a good goal.
That's what they submitted, to grow to 35 members, period.
Okay, that's a good
goal. That's all that it was. Like, what is your goal? That's what it was. And then that was the end of the conversation.
So there's no how-tos. Like, what's our strategy?
No.
So they have, that's not a goal. You get, that's not a goal. That's a dream. That's a wish. That's a fairy godmother wish out here. Because there's no strategy and there's no why. Why do they want to get to 35?
Yeah.
So why do they want to get to 35 is one of the most important questions. And do they know why they want to get to 35? And in order to get to 35, what do they have to do to make that happen? So I have a franchise. Did you know that? BNI.
Yes.
BNI is a franchise, right? So I own the Indiana franchise. And I also am co-owner of the British Columbia franchises. I have goals. And one of the things I've been working on this week, which makes me a little snarky sometimes because I don't like strategy, but anyway, I've been working on my goals. And the biggest goal I'm working on is to get my first year retention to 55%. At the moment, I'm at 45. So I would like to move it up by 10%, right? 10 points. And now I'm trying to think of all the strategies, all the things that we could be doing that I have control over. So what I don't have control over and what a chapter doesn't have control over is the people. Right? I have no control over the members because, let's face it, where are they? I have already committed to passports, right?
Right.
I have passports. I have passports from all different countries here that I've collected. But that requires that the chapter do what they're supposed to do. And that's out of my control.
Right.
I can teach them, I can train them. So that's not a strategy. One of the strategies is helping them understand why it's important so that they will run the passport program and help them understand the purpose of the passport program. So that is one of my strategies. But now I'm thinking of all the other strategies I need to come up with that I have control over. And the chapter has to do the same thing if they're going to have a goal of 35. 35 what? 35 antibodies? Are they going to do that by, is one of their strategies they're going to focus on different contact spheres and power teams? And they're going to grow each one to 5 or each one to 6? And are they going to do any trade shows? What's their marketing budget? Do they have a marketing budget? Do they have a plan for social media? What are all the things that have to be tied together in order to hit that goal? And do they understand what their average loss of members per year are?
So here's some challenges with the chapter. They put out quote unquote goal. We're going to grow to 35 members by then 2023. Then they landed into what we call the goal graveyard, where goals go to die. on the other side of that period, because that's it. What you're talking about is what should follow after the period. Here's our goal, and here's how we're going to achieve it.
This is the roadmap,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know how to get there, so they know they want to go to 35, but do they know the path or the road they have to drive to get there?
Yeah.
And
Here's the other
if-
challenge, though, Hazel, is it's a chapter of 20, and they're going to grow by 15 members by the end of the year. This chapter has never added 15 members in a year, let alone 5 members in a year in the
But
10
that's
years they've been a
because
chapter.
That's because they've never put strategies around it.
Right.
If they're just growing by happenstance. It's like the difference between walking into a chapter who's always prepared to have visitors. Their visitor table set up. They're always prepared for the visitor, always, every week.
Yeah.
Versus the chapter that you walk into and you know they hardly ever have visitors because they're never prepared and they're surprised when a visitor comes in. Oh, where are you from? How'd you hear about us? They're not prepared, right? So they have to take a look at what are those strategies. It's the same. If you don't know where you're going, then any direction you take is fine.
Yeah. And the reason we know it works is because we have chapters around the world, but specifically here in BC and in Indiana, who are very goal orientated. The goals are always up. The members all know what they are. The strategy is out there. The expectations are set. The accountability is in place. Like
So
they're really,
my recommendation is the consultant needs to walk them through goal setting.
yeah, definitely.
Like, what are the strategies? Let's talk about the strategies you want to put in place. Because maybe sometimes the chapters don't even understand all the strategies they could put in place. And they don't understand that they have to have a budget to do it. What's our budget for this? And which members do we want? So one of the things I am looking at for retention is that we do a better job telling applicants during the interview process about the power of one. Do you think you can meet these requirements? If not, it's at the applicant's interview that decision should be made.
Yeah.
Versus waiting till they're already a member. That's a retention issue. So not only does your chapter, in order to get to 35, have to consider all the strategies to get 35 people, they have to have a strategy to keep those 15 new people. Yeah. How are they going to do that? And most of our chapters have a lower than 40% retention rate, unless they're a small chapter who never gets rid of anyone, and then they have 100% retention.
Here's an easy goal. Here's an easy goal for chapters, especially struggling chapters. The easy goal is in 2023, we're going to bring it back to just following BNI policies, procedures, power of one. Simple. We're going to follow the system. How they're going to do that.
If you have a chapter of 20 and each one of them brought 12 members or 12 visitors, because that's 12 visitors, one a month, right?
Yeah.
Times 12 is how many? 200 and some odd visitors.
Yeah.
And if you have a conversion rate of, most of the chapters are at like 12, 15%, how many actual visitors do you have to get to 15?
And if you have a chapter of 12 or a chapter of 15, then setting a real accountability and expectation that every member invite, yes, but will sponsor. If every member sponsors one per, even in a year, just one in a year, that chapter will double by the end of the year. That's an expectation.
And actually, those are the people that'll stay more often. Like if I invite you and I sponsor you in, you're more likely to stay because we have a relationship already because I brought you in.
Right.
That is proven. And then if each one of you've set the expectation that a new member comes in to invite their network, who they've never invited to BNI, now you've got something happening.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's lots of really great strategies.
There are.
You got to think about them and you got to put that plan, and it has to be growth and retention. They have to go together. Because let me remind you, Indiana put on 207 new members last year. I netted 2.
Yep. Right?
205 walked right out the door.
Yeah, that's similar in BC.
Yeah.
We've even had
Well,
greater
it's-
numbers.
I would look at it
walk out
3+1 is similar to most franchises.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of chapters members will come to me when I visit the chapters. Mike, you should be really happy. Look at all our new members, and I go, "That's really great." The thing is, you have the same amount of members as you had a year ago, if not less. So it's replacing bums and seats. There's no actual growth.
Yeah, so it's got to have a strategy for both.
Yeah. So we could talk about this for hours. Honestly, we do. But the idea here really is to, and it's also not just the goal of one leadership team member, it's a goal of a collective leadership team member, and your chapter consultants or director consultants need to work collaboratively together to come up with these.
The plan, just come up with a plan.
Yeah.
And be reasonable about your plan. Can you really add 15 people when you've never done it? Can I really make $250,000 when I've only ever made 30,000 in a year?
Right.
How am I gonna, that's a world record leap, right?
Yeah. For
a chapter or something. So yeah, that it takes a lot. And working with your consultants is key.
Definitely. All right.
Not the consultants, they can call you.
Yes. Call me, not all at once, or call you.
Do a strategy session with you. I'm happy to do a strategy session.
Strat plan sessions. That's
Yep.
To be really helpful. All right. So members, and especially we're speaking a lot to the leadership teams of the chapters right now. It's up to you to make it happen and take the first steps in, if you're not already doing it, to make it happen. And if you are doing it, there's opportunities to level up that process to a higher degree so that you actually have something by the end of 2023 that you can look back on, go, wow, we hit it, we didn't hit it. Here's the reasons why. Here's what we're going to do different the following year.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think it was Ivan taught me this. You should actually set a goal in 3. I'm shooting for the moon. I'd be happy to hit orbit. And if I was on Earth, I hit the floor. This is so what is your greatest, your middle, and your bottom? So even at the bottom level, you're going to be excited that you had growth.
Absolutely.
What would that look like?
All right. Strategize away. Till next time, Hazel.
See you then.
Bye.